and welcome back to my channel. My name is Deepa from Designs by D, and today I am showcasing this beautiful butterfly card as part of the Inspiration Hop for Scrappy Tails. Now they just released the Heartfelt Wings collection and it is stunning. Don't forget to hop along, check all the details written down in the description below so that you can be entered to win one of the prizes available. Now let's take a look at all of the products. Now you can see there are tons of butterflies. I've got two stamp sets here. The one with the larger butterfly is called Heartfelt Wings, and the smaller butterflies, it's called Spread Your Wings. Now, both of these sets have a coordinating die set that you can purchase with it. I'm going to be using that today. And there's also another stamp set. Go ahead and take a look at the collection online. You can see everything there. Now, the main difference between these two sets, of course, there's the larger and the smaller butterflies, but the larger butterfly set has more generic sentiments, while the smaller one has sentiments for Mother's Day and a couple generic. There's also this bird cage, which you can use with the coordinating bird dies that come in this release as well, but I'm actually going to use this for the butterflies. So let's get started here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the smallest butterflies. I used a larger butterfly on a card I made last week. I'll go ahead and link that up in the top right here if you wanted to take a look at that later on. But yeah, I've got three of the smallest butterflies, and then from the medium size, the smallest one, because I want these all to kind of fit on the card nicely. You can see the print is gorgeous. I've stamped them out with some Memento Tuxedo Black here because this is Copic safe. I'm using some beautiful blues and pinks, and then I think I've got an aqua tone in there to color in these gorgeous butterflies. Now, I did stamp these out on some Bristol Smooth cardstock, which is ideal for Copic coloring because it just helps the colors blend together nicely. You don't have to use that cardstock, but when you do, I'm gonna place a disclaimer right here. Really wait until that ink dries. I actually smudged mine and then went ahead and re-stamped it again, and you're gonna see it's gonna smudge again even though I stamped it and heat set it and everything. So if you're gonna use Bristol Smooth, stamp that out and let it sit for a good 10 minutes before you actually start coloring. For the case of the card that I'm doing today, it really doesn't matter if I do have some smudging because I'm going to end up cutting these out. You're not really going to see any of that smudging. You can see there at the top of the wing, I've completely smudged it. But you know, to color these in, it's just really a flicking motion is all you need to use. You can tell the butterflies when you look at them have a striated, linear type texture or pattern to the wings. So when you flick, it kind of maintains that. And you'll notice this on a lot of the butterflies that Sabrina's drawn, especially that larger one. That flicking look actually gives it a realistic look. Okay, so I've got my largest butterfly all colored in here. I'm just kind of going over it a bit to mix the colors and make sure it's a bit even. Now for this other butterfly, it's a bit smaller and I wanted it to be a bit lighter. I used the same colors, but just the lighter tone, so BV00 and B23. So I'm just using two colors here and blending those in nicely. You can see that I still used that flicking motion in order to color these in. However, you don't see it as much in the finished product because the colors are very light and they're closer in tone. When you have a stark difference like that dark blue on the lighter blue, there you see it a lot more. Now I'm going to be using these Copics BV08, V04, and BG15. Now you can see I've got more of an aqua tone there with the BG, and that's really going to just make that butterfly pop a bit. So I've got two butterflies that are more like a darker purple and blue color, and then I'm going to do two butterflies still with the darker purple and blue, but also with that aqua tone, which is going to make it stand out. So you can see all of my colors kind of coordinate, they go together, so all the butterflies, even though they look different, still go together because they're in the same tone family of colors. So you can see that aqua tone or the BG Copic looks absolutely stunning on that butterfly and really makes the darker colors kind of stand out. I'm going to use the same colors on this sideways butterfly, and you'll see that when I complete this design that the open winged butterflies are the ones that are going to go around the cage, and then I'm having this sideways butterfly kind of going to be at the top, kind of like carrying the cage, if you will. Okay, so I probably should have noted this earlier, but when I did stamp these out, I didn't remove anything from my MISTI. And if you want to do heat embossing on your butterflies, you're going to want to keep those stamps in your MISTI and use a MISTI. Otherwise, you could just stamp it freehand. See, now that I've colored it in with my Copics, I will go back and I will add some anti-static powder, and I will heat emboss these with some Ranger Princess Gold embossing powder just to make it really have like a nice gold tone, which is going to match our cage afterwards. Now you can see it looks good with the black. I could have maybe left the black and maybe done a black cage, but I wanted the gold for this card. So it's completely up to you if you want to change the color scheme you got going on there. But yeah, definitely if you're going to use Copics, please, I mean, for the sake of preserving your Copic nibs when you're coloring, don't do it on top of embossing because it definitely might ruin those nibs. So that's why I stamped these in black. I did the Copic coloring, and then I'm going back over with the heat embossing now. You see it's going to turn out perfectly. You're not really going to see any of those black lines. Now, if you're really worried about seeing the lines through and maybe your heat embossing skills or whatever it may be, go ahead and use a lighter color ink than the black. Maybe use maybe like the toffee colored Memento ink or something that's like a light gray would really work for this as well. So you can see that once I've heat embossed this, you really don't see any of those lines, just the centers of the butterflies, which are black. So now I'm going to cut these butterflies apart, and I'm going to line up the coordinating dies and cut them out. And I find that you really don't get the full effect of this butterfly or any type of die cut until you actually cut it out with the coordinating die. Sorry, not the die cut, the stamp. Once you color in a stamp, you make it all nice, and then you cut it out and it has that nice border. It looks stunning. And you can see exactly what I mean here. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut out the rest of them. It doesn't take too long, and you can see how gorgeous they look. So I'll just set those aside right now, and I'm going to go ahead and use that bird cage die. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it out of some mirror gold cardstock. This is some Sizzix Opulent brushed mirror cardstock. And you can see that looks beautiful, and then with those gold butterflies, looks even more stunning. Okay, so for my background, we're going to do some ink blending here. I'm using some oxide inks, and I'm going to start off with some prize ribbon, which is a nice like royal blue color. I'm going to cover half of my panel. So this panel is exactly 5 by 7 inches. So this is a larger card, and it's simply larger because that cage is a bit large. And on top of that, we want all those butterflies to fit on. So once I've got about half of the panel covered in the prize ribbon, I'm going to go and grab some peacock feathers, and then I'm going to mix that or sort of blend that in the middle. Now what I like to do is kind of use one color, so the prize ribbon, then I'll put on the peacock feathers, and then I'll grab a bit more of the prize ribbon and go over the join between the two colors, and possibly go back with the peacock feather over the join as well. I find going over that join with the two colors really helps blend it out nicely. So now I've grabbed a bit of masking tape there to sort of just protect my fingers, and I'm taking the last color here, which is cracked pistachio, which is like a nice lighter green color, and adding this to the top. And again, I'm going to blend in the same manner that I did the bottom part. So you're going from a darker color to a lighter color, and the whole point in this is that your eye is going to be drawn up towards the butterflies flying upwards, and that's what this card is all about, spreading your wings, being free, going higher. You'll see with the sentiment I use in the end. Okay, so I did try to add some chipped sapphire to the bottom to darken it. Didn't work, so I went ahead and grabbed some black soot and just added a little bit at the bottom to darken it even more. Now this is my favorite part. I'm just adding a bunch of droplets of plain old water and then just drying it off with my towel there, and you can see you get that beautiful like whimsical type look in the background. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Now don't worry if you get splotches like I did, because the cage is going to go over top. You're not going to notice it that much. So I've got a card base here, white card base, same size as the panel, 5 by 7 inches, and I'm just going to attach this here with my tape runner. And once that's attached, we can pretty much assemble this card. Now, I just want to take a second to say sorry about my voice. It's in and out, stuffy. My throat gets a little bit crackly here and there. I'm so sorry. I've been sick for the longest time, and I hope that it doesn't interfere with my commentary too much and you kind of get the gist. So anyways, Now that I've got this attached, I'm going to go ahead and just glue that cage right down to the panel there. Okay, so once the cage was down, I started adding my butterflies. Now, I just got carried away and wanted to see the final look, but I'm gonna stamp a sentiment on here at the end. It ended up working out just fine, but if you're recreating this or doing something like this, please stamp your sentiment first. It just makes it easier. So I would stamp the sentiment at this point, but I forgot, so we'll do it at the end with the Misty. So I'm just really arranging these butterflies here. Now you can see that they're just going to fly up and around the cage, and that one at the top is going to kind of be carrying the cage there. And you'll notice that I'm not, the three butterflies that are, open winged, I'm not putting them completely flat. I'm just adding the foam adhesive to the center portion and kind of folding the wings up a little so that they have a bit of dimension and kind of look like they're flying. Now, I've gone ahead and added those 4 butterflies, and you can see I'm realizing, oh shoot, I want to add my sentiment now. So you can see that the sentiment that I'm adding is from the same stamp set, and it says, "You did it, you're going to fly high." And that was the whole point in this card I was mentioning earlier, that you want the butterflies moving upwards, the darker color at the bottom, lighter at the top. And you can see that it all just kind of points to those butterflies at the top and the sentiment there. Now, now that that's done, I did want to add a bit more shine to this. So I've got my stickles. I'm using some goldenrod stickles for the body of the butterfly. So I mentioned this before. I added the black there just to make sure that it was kind of colored in. But now I'm adding as much as possible of the goldenrod stickles on the body. Now, the way that stickles is that it doesn't have dimension. It's not like Nuvo drops. So I can add as much as I want. And when it dries, it's going to flatten, and you'll just see the glitter on top, which is nice. Now I'm also adding some diamond stickles just all along the wings to give them all a nice glisten and shine. So once I've got enough of the stickles on here, which is actually quite a bit, I'm running through that diamond stickles like crazy, but it just looks so gorgeous. I'm going to go ahead and add my last little bit of bling, which is this embellishment set. This mix that comes from Scrappy Tails. There are 2 new embellishment mixes, which are a bunch of butterflies, and then you've also got like a nice flower mix as well that comes with the card kit. So if you're looking for those embellishments or some of these products at a lower price, I would go ahead and check out the card kit. You do get this stamp set in there. So that's my card for today. I hope that you've been inspired to create something similar yourself. And don't forget to check out the Scrappy Tails store. This is a release you're not going to want to miss. Everything that I've used is linked within my blog, which is linked in the description below. There's a link to the Scrappy Tails store there, and all of the details of the hop is in the description. So don't forget to hop along and comment to win. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.